chat box if you think of them while I'm speaking, and then we can always kind of go back to them at the end of the presentation. So for those who haven't traveled with G Adventures yet, I'd love to give you a kind of a high-level overview of who we are, what we do, and where you can travel with us all around the world. So we are a Canadian tour operator. We've been doing our thing since 1990. We're born in Canada, as we like to say, that we're made to travel the world. So back in the early 90s, Bruce Puntip, who is born in Calgary, lives in Toronto, came up with the idea of kind of like creating a travel business that was focused on using local services, supporting local people, that was somewhere in between like guided backpacking and coach touring. Fast forward 35 years, we've evolved significantly since then. So now we are operating 942 tours in all corners of the globe. We have a total of 13 different travel styles, partnerships with people like National Geographic and Dr. Jane Goodall. So we've grown up a lot in the last 35 years. So it's not just guided backpacking anymore with G Adventures. We have some like really beautiful itineraries with some pretty luxurious stays too. So I think you'll be surprised when you look into it. One of the questions I always get is what exactly is adventure? Sorry, what is adventure in the term like G Adventures, and what does that mean? And how we look at it is really that adventure is something different for everyone. So our tours are built um, on the basis that there's time to explore outside, that there's time to meet the local people, and then we want to make sure that you're not just seeing the world through a tinted window on an air-conditioned coach bus. So we want to kind of flip that upside down a little bit and show you how to see the world in a very different way. So where do we go? Where don't we go is really the question. So 900 plus trips, all 7 continents. We do everything from sailing trips in the Greek islands to safaris in Kenya in partnership with National Geographic. We're going to dive into some specific itineraries in just a little bit, but I'd love for you to understand a little bit more about kind of what makes G Adventures really special and unique first. So we run our tours with small groups. We don't do anything like big coach buses. So usually our group sizes are a maximum of 16 travelers. We want to make sure there's lots of time for you to explore in destination and to participate in on-tour experiences. Um, every single departure of our tour is usually made up from people all around the world. But out of the hundreds and hundreds of tours, they selected that one. So they have at least one thing in common. We don't have any age restrictions on our tours. We are open to people really from 18 to 88 and also outside of that range. So we do family tours for younger travelers traveling with their parents or grandparents. No upper age restrictions on any of our tours. And then all of our tours are given ratings to make sure that you, in consultation with your Merit travel agent, are booking onto the right tour. So we rate everything from 1 to 5 on a physical scale to make sure that you're comfortable with the tour inclusions. And then we also give our tours kind of a rating on comfort level too, which is directly related to the level of accommodation that we've got included in the tours. So if you have a brochure of ours in your home, our tours on average are usually like 3 out of 5 on physical level, which really means that you just need to be able to move your bag from place to place. We don't offer a porter service in our tours because our group sizes are just so small. So you just need to kind of move from place to place. Anything higher than that, we're going to give you specifics on what's included. If it's a 1 hour walk, if it's a multi-day hike, if there's some bike riding, or if there's options to do more activity on tour, all of the specifics will be provided for you too. So you'll know kind of how long you're hiking, how far you're hiking, if there's any hiking at all in the tour. So a lot of our tours are really focused on sightseeing and making sure that you're understanding the local culture. You get to see like the big highlights that you've dreamed about, or maybe you watched on a documentary before or read about in a book. But we also want to take you off the beaten path a little bit too. And that's one of the great things about traveling in a small group is that we can do that. So we're not kind of restricted to showing up at a certain time for every single activity. We have a little bit more flexibility built into our tours. We like to encourage people to travel solo, but never alone. So we don't charge any single supplements on our tours at all. We offer a guaranteed share program. So you'll be traveling, if you're a solo traveler, you'd be traveling matched up with someone of the same gender to share a room with. And in some of our tours, you can even opt for something that we like to call my own room. So if you don't want to have a roommate and you're traveling solo, then you can pay just a little bit extra to guarantee your own space in your own room for the duration of the tour. If you're looking at traveling and you're a little nervous about it and you are a solo traveler, you're definitely not alone. So on our tours, over 50% of people traveling with G Adventures are going solo. So you're definitely going to be meeting people that are traveling with maybe a sibling, maybe a partner, maybe a friend, but lots of solo travelers are enjoying this kind of travel experience too. With the built-in safety and security of having on-tour local guide, support in destination, support by a global travel company, kind of looking after things behind the scenes, you're never going to really feel alone and uncomfortable. The other thing that we do with our tours, which I don't think we put in the brochures enough, is that the on-trip experience is really social. So what that means is that, well, not only are you traveling likely with other solo travelers who are going to be chatty amongst each other or amongst the new group members, our guides are going to be there for everything. So they're not just kind of drop you off and let you go and see things on your own. They're really, really involved in the on-tour experience, which means that like they're going to be joining for breakfast, they'll be there for lunch, they'll be organizing meals, even when it's not an included meal. They're going to be giving options to the group, like in somewhere like anywhere actually, like somewhere like Japan, they're going to say like, okay, what do you guys feel like doing for dinner tonight? Here are three options that maybe I've been to or I've heard about or my G Adventures colleagues have raved about, and they'll organize that and join the group. So they're not just kind of sending them off. So even for solo travelers, no one's ever going to have to dine alone on our tours. And then on that note, our guides. The guides are all local. We call them CEOs, so they're chief experience officers. They're really there to show you the best of their homeland. They're going to be available to like take the most beautiful photos and tell you where the best coffee in the country is, or where the best like sandwich or noodle bowl or what have you is in that country. They are really well connected to the local destination, but also to each other. So at G Adventures, because we've been in the business for quite a long time, we've got operations offices all over the world, which act as our hub for our guides. The guides are connected to other guides on the road, so they get tips and tricks from their colleagues, and they are honestly like just as excited to see these places as you are, which I think is really beautiful. Because I don't know if anyone's been on a tour where you can kind of tell the tour guide just doesn't care. They've seen it like 1,000 times and they're not excited. I think that takes a bit away from the experience. And our guides are honestly like so excited to share their homeland and to share like their grandma's recipes with you and to show you where their favorite like soup joint is in Vietnam. So they're really going to be your built-in best friend, your professional photo taker, your alarm clock, and your support if you need to have a menu translated or if you're looking for like a walk-in clinic when you're in destination. So traveling with G Adventures it's really fun, but behind the scenes, there's so much that goes into it to like really support our travelers and make sure that you're there and you're relaxed. So all you really need to worry about is like what's coming next, like what are you doing the next day, and let us take care of like organizing like all of the accommodations, the transportations, like even the timing, like what time to get up to see the most beautiful sunrise. We're going to get you all of those things. And it's through our local guides, our CEOs, who are really the face of the business at G Adventures. And they're just amazing humans. Now, when you're traveling with us, you're going to be staying in locally owned properties. So I mentioned earlier, all of our tours are rated in the comfort level. So most of our tours are what we call a standard level of accommodation, which if you want to put a star rating on it is about 3 star. If you're looking at something a little bit more comfortable, we have a couple of different travel styles that you might consider. We have a partnership with National Geographic, which I'll talk about in just a couple minutes. National Geographic Journeys tours are going to be 4 star-ish, so a little bit more comfortable. And then we also have something called the GLEX collection, which is our premium active line of tours. Those accommodations are also going to be about 4-star. So majority of our tours 3-star-ish. One thing to note though, it's always going to be local. So we are scouring like the corners of the earth to find these like beautiful boutique properties to include in our tour packages for you, the traveler. So these are places you wouldn't necessarily find on your own. They're places that are going to be centrally located. They are going to be like amazing service. That's one of the things that we kind of want to make sure we've got a check mark when we're selecting our accommodations, but also really fun. So unique places. So we stay in places that are like eco lodges in Costa Rica. We stay in some safari camps in Africa. We stay in boutique agriturismos in Italy. We stay in like desert camps in Jordan. So really kind of mixing things up. And then your Merit travel agent will be able to tell you the names of the properties. If you really are curious what it's like to travel with G Adventures, they can go through day by day and share with you the names of the properties so you can make sure it's the right level of accommodation for you. So the other kind of really important thing about this is that one of the things that we're working on at G Adventures is making sure to leave the destinations in a better situation than when we first arrive. So very simple concept, wanting to make sure we use local guides to support the local economy, making sure we stay in local accommodations so that the money from tourism is being shared around kind of through these areas. So one of the challenges with travel nowadays is that some of the products that are sold out there, the money's going back to places like the US, and like we really would rather it go to like countries like Ecuador or Colombia that might need it a little bit more. So when you're traveling with G Adventures, the local accommodations are very, very important to us. Now, in terms of the on-tour experience, what's it like? So our tours are packaged so that what you're purchasing includes your accommodation, transportation, services of the guide, some included activities. We have a long list of optional activities, and we also built in free time. So you're not herded around. You don't have to wear matching hats or name tags because it's just a small group. And we like to make sure that we're catering to people who want the like a detailed tour experience, but also people that want to explore a little bit on their own. So it's kind of the best of both worlds in the small group tour experience, where if you're really interested in wildlife, then you want to add on an extra safari, our guides are able to do that for you in destination. Or if you're really interested in art and museums and you want to see a little bit more of that, there's always going to be a little bit of free time in the tour. So the guide can organize any extra activities for you in destination. You're never really on your own. And they'll be able to tell you, oh, you need to pre-book this, you should go in the morning, go in the evening, you'll see this. They're really the local experts in destination. So lots of included highlights, lots of optional activities, and then free time, and it's all part of the adventure. Now, the other thing that we do at G is community tourism. It's kind of our thing. We have a program in play right now. We are trying to build 300 different projects and integrate them into our tours. So we call them G for Good projects because we believe that travel can be a force for good. Some of these projects could be like a local, it could be like a local organization that's doing a cooking class, and they're doing that, and the money's going back into the community. We do a really fun one in Belize, actually, where we do a guided bicycle tour that's led by youth, and that money goes back into the school to support furthering education in a place on Kikocker in Belize. So these community tourism initiatives are something that you might see them in the pages of the brochure. It's a really great way to connect with the local communities. It's also a great way for, I mean, I have so many examples of these. I actually stayed in one of the ones that I visited was a homestay that we support in Ometepe, which is an island on Lake Nicaragua. And so it's an organization of families that have kind of decided, like we'd like to pick up a little bit of extra income from the tourists that are coming to visit our town. So G Adventures went and had conversations with the community and said, we can support you in this. So we've routed our tours through. And now instead of staying in a hotel, it's homestay experience for travelers. So, and the homestay, you're not staying like in their living room or anything like that. Usually it's like a building, a room or two that are built kind of on the side of someone's home where it's like washroom, like a hotel room. Like you'd have all the kind of the amenities, basic amenities of a hotel room. So like room with beds, private ensuite washroom. So I've stayed in one of those. In Peru, we support a weaving project. So it's the Cacacolo community, which is actually included in one of the tours I'm going to talk about. So I'll save that for later. But there's lots of really, really amazing community initiatives that are happening behind the scenes at G Adventures that you can participate in when you travel with us. Now we're going to dive into the Merit Travel exclusive tours. So we have some tours. Oops, this is actually 26. My apologies here. I'm time traveling here. So we have some tours that we've got block space, exclusive departures just for Merit Travel. The first one I'm going to speak about is Soloish Morocco. So this one's coming up March 14 to 23rd, 2026, which is wild to even think about. Soloish is a brand new travel style for G Adventures. This launched last October, and Soloish is based on the idea of solo travelers only. So I mentioned earlier that on the majority of our tours, we'll have lots of solo travelers. On this tour, it's only solo travelers allowed. So if you're interested in traveling as a solo, you're a little nervous, you feel like you don't want to be the only one, that is totally welcome on this style of tour. And we've designed things a little bit differently on these ones. So our Soloish Morocco tour starts in Casablanca, it ends in Marrakesh. For the soloish style of travel, so we built in some really like social elements to the tour. So we have something that we call it's kind of a silly term, but we call it a 3-day friender on tour. So we want to make sure out of these 10 days that those first 3 days are really hyper focused on making people or encouraging people to connect with each other. So we want to have some sort of a dining experience. It could be a dinner class, it could be a dinner show, something that really involves people. And I don't want to say team building because that sounds cheesy, but something that involves people and brings people together. With our itineraries too, we also include um, something unique called, so we do a me day, a we day, and a G day. So me day is where we build in some free time for you to do whatever you want. A we day is a day that we build in some sort of connecting activity that gets the group together. So on this particular one, it's wine and history in Casablanca. Wine always makes people feel connected. And then the G day is something that is like influenced by G Adventures and really kind of like links into our values as a business. So on the G day for this particular tour, we have local immersion. We spent a whole day in the Medina in Fez. So me, we, G Day included with Soloish Morocco, only solo travelers. Dates are locked in for March of 2026. And again, it's 10 days, Casablanca to Marrakesh. If you haven't been to Morocco yet, it is a just unreal destination. Not only do you see these like magical sandcastle sites, the architecture is just absolutely stunning. It's a really nice mix too. So on this particular itinerary, we're going into so in Meknes, the G for Good project that we support there is actually a cooking demonstration organized by local women in this small community where we have a little bit of a language exchange. They show us how they're preparing the meal. We sit down and like we can ask questions about their community and what it's like to live in Morocco. And that money goes back into them, like furthering development in the area. We also go kind of through the winding streets of the Medina and Fez with the local guide. We spend a night under the stars at a desert camp in Merzouga down in the south, out in the Sahara. We go through Tadr Gorge, which is a little bit cooler in climate with the water running off from the high Atlas Mountains. We do a cooking class, wine tasting, and we spend a bit of time at Ait Ben Adu, which is what you see in the back of this image here. So beautiful city of Casablanca. Not too many people spend extra time in Casablanca. My recommendation is to spend more time in Marrakesh. There's more to see and do. But the We Day, we do wine and history in Casablanca. There is Fez. So not only does Fez have like hundreds of little shops and alleyways to wander through, it's also famous for the tannery area. So your local CEO will find his or her way up to this beautiful vantage point, which is actually in a leather shop, so that everyone can get this postcard image. And you can watch the practice. So you can see the people down here are actually working, dyeing the leathers in the tannery. Sahara Desert, we have time to camp under the stars, also to hike up some of the dunes in the area. And then Ait Benadu was actually in the Game of Thrones series, if anyone tuned into that. Really incredible Medina. There's, I think, 5 families that are still living in this area. Just looks like the most perfect sandcastle that you've ever seen in your entire life. So we actually stay in a hotel just alongside here, and then go into Ait Benadu for the day tour. So that is soloish Morocco. Another itinerary that's being featured through Merit Travel is the Journeys Highlights of Costa Rica. So this is part of our National Geographic Journeys collections of tours. We have a total of 80 tours that we operate in partnership with National Geographic. This just wrapped our 10th anniversary working with them, and we've just signed on to do another 10. The difference kind of between a G Adventures tour and National Geographic is that the accommodations are a little bit upgraded. Plus, it has a little bit more focus on like learning. So a National Geographic is I mean, you think about the magazines and you think about the documentaries, and it's all about education. So we have a little bit of that splashed in. With our National Geographic Journeys tours, we also have local experts that help to guide us in kind of where we're visiting and what we're seeing in destination. So there may be some highlights that we have included for this tour that aren't available in other tours. So one of the examples of this is actually in the Monteverde area. We learned from a researcher who's funded by National Geographic. And they're joining the tour for like a little snapshot in time. And then on this tour, we actually go and plant a tree together. So this one is 9 days out of San Jose. It is going up to La Fortuna Arenal, which is the volcanic area. Monteverde, the cloud forest region, and then visits Manuel Antonio Park down in the south. Lots of opportunity on this tour, of course, to see wildlife. So if you're interested in wildlife like birds and monkeys, the highlights of Costa Rica is a really, really great itinerary to do. And again, with this style of travel, the accommodation is going to be 4-ish star. I say 4-ish because star ratings are really strange around the world, and they're not always exactly the same. So I don't want to say 4-star and then you think of 4-star as this way, and it be very different. It's always going to be kind of boutique accommodations. We're looking for smaller places that are locally owned, again, so we can make sure the money is going back into the destination. But this, in fact, is a view from one of the properties that we use in La Fortuna. So beautiful itinerary. Costa Rica itself is home to rainforest, beaches, wildlife. They've been a long time leader in conservation and heritage. They protect their land. They have a slogan that says Pura Vida for pure life. So really fun-filled adventure exploring Costa Rica and seeing kind of what it has to offer in terms of landscape and geography. Now, on this tour, we have a really fun included tortilla making session in La Fortuna. So this is one of the G for Good initiatives, again, where we're working with the local family to host people in their home. So it's art of tortilla making from Donna Maria in her home. So you get to grind the corn, mix the dough, bake it in the stove, and then eat it, obviously. So you get to reap your rewards from the hard work that you put into the kitchen. It's a really cool cultural experience, connecting with locals in destination and learning about their culture. Monteverde Cloud Forest, I mentioned earlier, we're meeting a researcher from National Geographic. There's also a guided walk that's included in the Santa Elena Cloud Forest, and then option to do additional canopy walks or zip lining in the area with some free time built in. One of the things I hadn't mentioned earlier, we do a visit to a coffee cooperative too. So just outside of Costa Rica, G Adventure sponsors a coffee co-op called Mi Cafecito. So you learn about coffee production too, which is really kind of a key in Costa Rica. There's those monkeys. So lots of wildlife spotting opportunities in this. And then a little bit of beach time. So we have a guided excursion to Manuel Antonio National Park, which is Costa Rica's smallest national park, but it's definitely one of the most beautiful. In the park, you'll have chances to see sloths, iguanas, monkeys, tons of birds. And there's still some beaches here that you can go to or there's no one else around. So really, really beautiful experience. Next up, we've got Solo-ish Peru. So similar to the Morocco tour, this is from the Solo-ish collection. So again, solo travelers only. It's going to be running as a Merit exclusive from July 18th to 26th in 2026. This tour is just kind of quintessential Peru. So Peru is our number one destination as at G Adventures. We send probably close to 20,000 people there every year to see this, to see Machu Picchu. We start the tour in Lima. We have an included flight to Cusco. In Cusco, we visit Ollantaytambo, we visit some G for Good projects. We take the train to Machu Picchu. We spend some time in Aguascalientes, right at kind of the base of Machu Picchu. So great overview of Peru in this area. I've been lucky actually. I've been to Peru 3 times now. It's got the best food on the planet, I think. I will say that. Best food on the planet. I have some colleagues that are going there this weekend, and I am incredibly jealous that they're going to get to eat all of their delicious food. So, recommendation for Peru is anyone that's traveling there, I would take a look at adding on a cooking class, which you can pre-book through your Merit travel agent, and you will not regret it. Plus, it comes with a pisco sour. So this 9 day soloish adventure is really all about like immersing yourself in the wonders of Peru. So visiting Lima, seeing like Cusco, which is the heart of the Incan Empire, neighboring through the Sacred Valley. We have time to soak in the hot springs in Aguas Calientes if you want some real thermal baths. They're not like the Scandinave spa. They're real thermal baths. Really beautiful. And then also seeing Cusco, seeing Machu Picchu through your own eyes with our local guides. A couple of the highlights on this tour, of course, we are visiting the Parwa community, which is a community that we support. We've got a lunch included there. We actually do have a cooking class included in this because it's solo-ish. So that was one of our 3 day friender inclusions. We're doing ceviche and causa. So causa is like potato, chicken avocado layer, and potato again, like a little tower. Delicious. In the G Day, we do history and culture of the Sacred Valley. In the We Day, we go into the heart of the Sacred Valley as a group, and then we've got some free time in Cusco, so people can pick what they want to do in Cusco, whether they want to do some shopping, horseback riding, hiking, go for a Peruvian massage, have some pisco sours on a rooftop patio. Lots of free time included in there, and then of course the highlight, Machu Picchu. So Lima, we stay in the Miraflores area of Lima, which is just over here somewhere. This is Larcomar, open air little shopping area. So kind of the touristic area of Lima, really safe, beautiful. Cusco, we have operations offices in Lima and Cusco. So there's one just around the corner from the square. So if you need any walking sticks or anything while you're there, you can pop in by our Cusco office and we'll be able to support you. Uh, Sacred Valley is where you visit the Women's Weaving Cooperative. So meeting with the local women, learning the practices of weaving, maybe taking a llama selfie or an alpaca selfie. I think they have both there. Trying cocoa tea, trying the popcorn they make is really good too. And of course, Machu Picchu. So seeing Machu Picchu, you're accompanied by what we call an Inca warrior. So they are there to explain the history. They're descendants of the Incas. They tell you kind of like from the ancient history to more modern history of Machu Picchu and a little bit about the culture of the Incas in the region. Now over to Iceland, very different destination. So this one's going to be running August 2nd to 8th of 2026. Iceland, in fact, is one of my probably one of my top 5 countries that I've ever visited. Um, my husband always jokes with me because I think I've been 4 or 5 times now to Iceland, and he thinks that before I met him, I was on the hunt for a Viking, but that wasn't it. It was just a really beautiful country with incredible sights. Very small population too. So if you want to get kind of away from the world and see something different. I mean, Reykjavik is kind of a little bit busy, but overall, the population of Iceland's only about 350,000 people. So it's teeny tiny in comparison. This is the itinerary that we're featuring, the best of Iceland. It's a 7-day loop out of Reykjavik. We are going on the ring road all around the country. So up into the north in Eker, excuse my pronunciation on these words in advance. Ekereri, where there's opportunity to do some whale watching and bird watching. So Iceland has puffins, which I still have not seen these. They're on my wish list of things to see, either in Iceland or Newfoundland, I guess, or the Canadian Arctic. But the Ekereri is quite well known for bird watching and whale watching. Lake Mavatin's our next stop on the journey before we head over to the East Coast. So this is a pretty fast trip, 7 days, doing a little bit of a circle all around Iceland, but the landscape changes significantly. Really, really beautiful drives. In between these places, we're not just going straight through, so we're stopping in to have like a whale watching tour potentially for people. We stop in to see waterfalls on the route to Maivatn Lake. We're going to see Dettifoss waterfall before we go over to the coastal area. We're actually staying in this particular tour. We stay overnight in a local guest house for 2 nights too. So really getting to meet the local Icelandic people. We go down towards Hoffen. We have a stop at the Vatnajökull Glacier, which is where you may have seen it's a glacier that goes into a lake. So you can see the kind of floating icebergs in there and get out in one of those amphibious vehicles to actually get out close. We go to the lagoon, which is where you get into that vehicle. Diamond Beach, where the icebergs are kind of washing up right on the black sand beach. Vic, we stop in a black sand beach there too at Reynisfjara, and then we're seeing waterfalls on the way back through. So just spectacular sights, very colorful buildings, like a lot of our more northern places, very Scandinavian kind of in design. This is actually the view from the Hallgrímskirkja Church. Over here, if anyone is booking, for those of you who are booking onto this tour, write down Sea Baron, Seabaron. It's over here in the kind of the Marina district. It's the best lobster soup of your entire life. Mark my words. It's expensive, but it's it's worth every single penny. It's like I think probably a $40 lunch if you have a beer with it. Very delicious. So Reykjavik's kind of a really neat northern capital. There's the whale watching up in the north of Iceland. That glacier lagoon, Jökulsárlón, beautiful, and then Gullfoss, which is actually the gull is golden and Foss is falls, so the golden falls of Iceland when we do the golden circle kind of on the way back. And then our last itinerary I wanted to feature is Portugal, Village Walks, and the Douro Valley. So this is from the Glux collection of tours, which was launched just over a year ago. The Glux collection is our premium active tours. These tours are designed for those of you who are looking to do some level of activity during the day and then stay in a little bit more comfortable accommodation in the evenings. So our accommodations on these are about 4-star, again, like boutique hotels. This tour is running from Lisbon to Porto, October 3rd to 9th of 2026. It is a nice balance of city and countryside. You're walking through medieval towns and small villages, plus there's wine and port. So I think this is a great itinerary. I live in the Okanagan, so this one is like right up my alley and what I would love to do. This also includes lots of fresh food, fresh, delicious fish, as many Portuguese tarts as you can handle. And it's a nice way to see Portugal and get kind of outside of the major cities. There's also been some new flights to Portugal recently, making it a much easier connection specifically for our like travelers going out of Toronto. I think there's a direct flight now, which is very inexpensive. So on this particular tour, 8 days, Lisbon to Porto, we've got lots of walks included. So when you're looking at this little map, we're traveling, starting in Lisbon, traveling by small kind of shuttle. Here's the little hiker here doing some walks, village to village. One thing you should note is that it's fully supported, so you only need to take a day pack with you. We're not requesting that you carry all your belongings with you when you're doing these walks with us. And the shuttle will meet you kind of at the next stop. Also, if you need to take a break, you can also join the shuttle. So it's fully supported, and that's one of the benefits, of course, in doing a small group experience. We love this style of travel because, well, personally, I do because it's like food, hiking, beautiful places to stay. So all of the things I really, really personally enjoy. Um, Lots of hikes included in this. So in terms of the duration of the hikes and the distances of the walks, I'm just going to pull that information just to give you a bit of an idea of what to expect. So when we're looking at the village walks, we have here from Monsanto to Edinha. This is about a 10-kilometer walk. So this is actually passing through part of a 1,000-kilometer trail that goes through Portugal, Spain, and France. So it's visiting castles along the way, little villages, not much elevation gain, so you're not hiking up. It's more kind of like cruisy little like hills here or there on that particular tour or that day. And then you're getting into Idanha Velha, excuse me, which is just a beautiful area. So you're traveling kind of back in time over 1,000 years of an era of castles, legends, and traditions. This town is actually one of Portugal's 12 historic villages. So you're just, I mean, one foot after the other, but traveling with the local guide, hearing the stories from years and years ago, it's like you're walking in history. And then you're walking through areas with like fig trees and olive trees, and you're greeted by Portuguese tarts and delicious wine when you arrive. So, I mean, you can tell that I really want to do this tour. This is Sortella. So it's a castle built on altitude of 750 meters. It's medieval in design through the architecture. It's granite, and it's one of the like most beautiful places I think in all of this tour. So it kind of like looms over the village. So you can very easily put yourself back in time with this. And then we also get to visit the Douro Valley. So this is a tapestry of vineyards. We're getting into the wine country of the area. So we're walking through some of the wine regions. We have lunch with the view, wine pairings, different guided visits, a little bit of walks, but I mean, it's like maybe 10 kilometers max. So nothing too crazy on this particular tour. And again, it's fully supported. So if you need any help, your bags are going to move onwards while you do the walk and wine thing. Beautiful itinerary. And Portugal is really a trending destination with our Canadian audience now. So that is a look at our exclusive departures in partnership with Merit Travel. I'm happy to take questions if anyone has any questions, if anything's come into the chat box. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope that you'll consider traveling with G Adventures. We would love to have you and really excited to be working with Merit Travel on these very special departures.
Thank you, Erin. That was amazing. Lots of choices. Hard to choose.
I know, I want to do all of those tours.
So if anybody has any questions, I don't see anything in the chat right now. So if anybody has anything, please go ahead. Again, just a reminder, this is being recorded, so I will be sharing the link afterwards as well. No, I don't think so.
Just a quick reminder, with small groups, space does fill up fast. So if you're interested, please do reach out to the Merit Travel team. It's just a deposit to lock in your space. That deposit is what we call a lifetime deposit. So it's good forever. So if something comes up, you need to change your plans, it'll stay on file for you to travel whenever you can next. And then final balance isn't due until much closer to the departure date. So easy peasy.
Great. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks, Erin, very much for for the presentation today. Amazing again. And thank you everybody else for attending this afternoon. That's
Great.
it. Everybody
Enjoy
have a
your
great
week.
afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.